Please like and leave a heart. Please.
There we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vidor Locksmith Show. I'm your host, David Gibson, where we are unlocking the secrets to success in the oil and gas industry, one interview, one technical presentation, one technical screw-up at a time. Thank you guys so much for being here with us on this amazing Friday. Really excited about today's show, as always. I say that every Friday, but I always am really excited about it. So first things first, guys, let me know where you guys are watching from. Love to be able to give everybody a shout out here on the screen as we get started. Let me know what you guys have been doing lately. Any other updates that are out there in the industry? I'd love to be able to hear about them. Been traveling a lot. I know we did a show last week. Did some. I think we missed about 4 or 5 weeks in there as far as shows and stuff. But we've got a almost full schedule put together going forward for the next 6 weeks. So if there's anybody out there that you think would do really well here on the show, or somebody just interesting that you'd like to be able to hear from, please, throw their name, put their name in the comment section, throw it out there. I'd love to be able to hear from them. I've got nothing planned, no events or anything to be able to go to here in the near future. I will say, however, though, the Basin Burnout is coming up. I don't know if it's this weekend or next weekend. Next weekend, as Tracy's pointing towards the wall. So Basin Burnout is next weekend. If you're in the MWD directional drilling business, I highly, highly, highly recommend going. It's probably been one of the best events I've ever attended. I won't be able to make it this year because both Brooklyn and Weston have baseball and softball games that day. So we will we've got to be here in town and not going to be able to make it out to Midland. So for everybody else that can make it, if you're not having to attend baseball, softball, or youth sports events, it's a great event to be able to go to. Highly recommend it. Tons of people out there. All right, let's go ahead and say hi to a couple of people. We've got Ian Perch watching from Woodlands, Texas. So good morning. Thanks for being here, sir. Blake Randall, morning from Austin. Thank you, sir. Robert Carrington tuning in from San Antonio. All right. Oscar Ross tuning in from Houston. Thanks for being here, sir. Johnny Corcutt is clapping his hands. Thank you. Here we go. IADD golf tourney. Oh, and OTC. OTC is coming up. So yes, I will be attending OTC, potentially doing a podcast with the OGGN group. They're also going to be attending. Cougar is having a big open house at their brand new facility in Houston. So we might be doing some filming, live streaming, some cool stuff with them as well. So Ian, thanks for that. Totally forgot about OTC. Just goes to show how much OTC is not as big as it used to be. Duncan says, H-Town saying hello. Thanks for tuning in, sir. And then Brian Dugas tuning in from Bow Bridge, Louisiana. Thanks, Brian, for being here. Need to get in touch with him. Brian, I you probably need to help me out writing some Python code. Or do you do C? I can't remember. Anyways, guys, great show that we got set up today. Chance Sharp tuning in from San Antonio. All right, we got a lot of San Antonio people tuning in today. It's good. All right. As per normal, we are going to give away a drill bit today. Right, we got a pink one here today. We made a handful of these for I can't remember the name of the ladies' event, but there's a STEM camp. Ladies STEM camp. So we made a whole bunch of these as giveaways for this ladies STEM camp that we're sending out, and then we still had some extra pink filament to fill out. So got a handful of these printed. We still got some other colors, but if you want pink, let me know. So yeah, we do have a sponsor, Patterson Energy. So happy to have them helping out with the show. So type in hashtag PTEN, P10. Hashtag PTN if you want to win a drill bit. Plus, we've also got Patterson also supplied us with some other swag. Got a nice little Patterson hat and they one of these really cool ice cube maker things. I really don't. It's called rocks, but that doesn't really describe it all that well. custom ice cubes. It's got like the little Patterson logo on it. So if you want to have some custom, oops, don't drop it. It's all right. You won't get that one. So if you want either one of those, put hashtag PTEN into the comment section now. And then what we'll do is we'll play a quick little clip. And then while that clip's playing, then we'll do the drawing probably quickly after that. So here's a quick little view from our sponsor, Patterson Energy.
Our newest alternative power technology is perhaps the most exciting as Patterson-UTI expands the use of lithium-ion battery technology in our rig fleet. EcoCell is an energy management system that uses stored energy to decrease the number of generators needed online and keeps generators running in their most efficient power-to-emissions ratio range.
All right, as the quick little video about EcoCell from Patterson Energy. So we'll just kind of keep the show rolling just so we can get some more comments to be able to come in. But just be sure as we're going through, put in hashtag PTEN into the comment section. There was another comment up there a second ago, Tracy. Somebody had said something about somebody's watching from Funky Town. Tuning in from Funky Town, a.k.a. Fort Worth. Steve is the best in the game and also my dad. Aww. Well, Fort Worth is the funky town, and that's where I was actually born, and then actually went to school near there. Brian says, I've been experimenting with Python code for an MWD decoder. Oh, wow. All right, there we go. All right, and everybody else is putting in the hashtag PTEN. All right, we'll go ahead and get started with today's show. Today's guest is Steve Carter. Steve, thanks for being on the show today, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
So, for whatever reason, why did you agree to be on the show?
Well, I'm a David Gibson follower. So, whatever you tell me to do, I do it.
Okay. So we're gonna start the show off with lies. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. All right. So I know we met probably about a month ago when I did the presentation at the Central Texas AAD.
Yes.
For those that don't know who you are, right? Give us a quick little background on who you are.
Well, I'm a petroleum engineer. Spent most of my career, which is going on 40 plus years now. So most of my time in drilling, but done whatever the operator said to do, whether it be production, fracking, etc. But I think most of my time has been spent in drilling. So
it's great to be able to talk to somebody who's been on multiple different parts. What part interests you the most?
On the drilling side?
Or I mean, completions, reservoir engineering. I mean, like you said, you get to work with a lot of the different parts. Which one grabs your interest the most?
Well, I still like drilling, and I think all wells should be rotary steerable, but it doesn't always work in all applications. So, but for me, I lean to the rotary steerable, but a lot of people don't want to go there. So,
well, tell me about that. Why is that? I mean, that's not a a common thing to be able to hear said. So, like, well,
that's just my opinion. But when you have
hey, you can throw your opinion out there. This time's for your show. Don't worry about getting canceled. Or
when you have a thin,
this is not what's going to get you canceled.
Let's say you have a thin target where you got to stay in the sand, not like a big giant Eagle Ford shale section, and you want to stay in target. Then, to me, you got to have rotary steerable because you can't control enough to, and you can monitor it as you go a lot better than taking shots every, let's say, 30 feet or 90. Either way, just more exact science. And on bottom time, I think is better, unless for some reason the system's not working properly. You stay on bottom more, and your efficiency is better, and you get more footage per day, which is one of your big deals. Feet per day. If you want more,
true.
You gotta make those changes, I guess, to your processes sometimes.
So then tell me about, obviously, if you've been in the industry for 40 years, you've seen rotary steerables come a long way. When was it that you were kind of like, all right, this is the thing, and started leaning that direction? Were you an early adopter of that technology, or is this more of like...
I probably wasn't in on the early stuff because I suppose it was more offshore. So South Texas, I would say 2013 or 2014, we kind of incorporated some rotary steerable. We cut 3 days off the well right from the get-go
Really?
by using rotary steerable. Yeah.
So what was that process like for you guys? That, I mean, obviously, somebody's coming in and pitching the technology for you guys to use. Well,
we finally kind of got the price to come down a bit to compete, with your standard issue, point the bit, sliding, technology. So it worked out, and then we saved money and paid a little bit more for rotary steerable, but we cut the days and cut the well cost down. So worked out.
So from an operator side, that's an area that I haven't worked in. How much does management look at that? And like, is it like, everybody's celebrating and giving each other high fives, or is it just like, oh yeah, that's what you're supposed to do? So, now shave another 3 days.
That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. Wasn't any bonuses given away or anything. Just good job and keep doing what you're doing. So,
wow.
But it was good for the engineers that were involved, or geologists for that matter. Everybody was happy.
So did you give the engineers bonuses then, or is it?
No.
Oh.
No. Not that I recall anyway. So.
Maybe if one of them is watching, they can chime in and be like, yeah, we sure didn't get any bonuses on that one or anything. So when you're evaluating, new technologies like that, what are the things that you're looking for to be able to put a technology like that downhole? What's been, some other examples, or what are you looking at as far as, making sure that you pull or that gets you to pull the trigger on it?
For the folks I was working for, you're still looking at the dollar. So it has to compete and, be in the range of, is this practical to not drive up our cost, but to try to use some type of new technology. So it kind of has to fit in economically too.
Yeah. When, being in the position of, because you were a drilling manager, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So being in the position of drilling manager, how many out there technologies did you get pitched? Were you just getting pitched stuff like all the time?
I wouldn't say all the time, but a few folks would bring in new stuff, and some of it worked. Some of it we got stuck because of the OD of the tool was, at least that was our take on it. It was just too tight for whatever reason. We got stuck right at the bottom of the curve and never got it back out. So that kind of killed the hot hole rotary steerable. Got killed on the first well.
Oh.
Not in the same area. This was a different area, deeper and hotter, and so we tried it out, but it lasted for one well.
Oh.
Never got to really use it after that.
Have you ever been pitched just something just absolutely ridiculous?
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I can't remember because it was too ridiculous to remember, I guess.
What was and I know this happens for a lot of entrepreneurial companies that are out there, or small startups, I shouldn't say entrepreneurial, but small startup companies out there that are trying to get in touch with the drilling manager and be able to show them that they've got something. What was the best way to be able to grab your attention to be able to show you what they had?
Persistence. Just gotta keep banging away on the emails and text, or show up at the office. I would say just you got to keep banging away, trying to pitch an idea or whatever.
So just over time,
or maybe
chip away at you.
Invite them to play golf or something that they like to do. Skeet shoot, barbecue, take your pick on. Find out what they do outside the office and maybe try to work it in that way.
What was the best thing that you got invited to?
The Masters golf tournament.
Really?
Yep. Twice. So.
So you're a big golf guy then?
Yes. Yeah.
So I know that you say you're semi-retired. Is that what you're doing at least half your time in retirement is just playing golf?
Every 2 or 3 days, yeah, when I'm at home playing golf.
Well,
So score's not getting any better, but the shots are better, but the score's the same. So it's a never-ending struggle. So
how do the shots get better, but the score doesn't?
just can't. 18 holes don't go together. 12 out of 18 I can play.
I don't play any golf, so I've
Yeah.
got like
Humility. You'll learn humility. That's the main focus of golf. Is to learn humility.
Oh, okay.
If you don't have it, go play golf.
Well, definitely sounds like one of those things where, like, I guess a lot of people are being humbled out there on the course on a daily basis.
Yes.
All right, I just want to be able to remind everybody. Oh no, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was laughing at myself.
Oh, I just want to remind everybody, if you guys have got any questions, be sure to be able to go ahead and throw them out there. Happy to be able to answer anybody's questions. I did notice Daryl Carter says that's my brother. So
Wow, I get the whole family going today.
yeah, hey, bringing everybody together. So that's good. Brian says RSS equals downhole control with near bit measurements, better vertical control to stay in zone.
Hey,
Agreeable. And then Paul Moore said, good morning from the Permian. All right. So I want to be able to ask you, obviously with your time in the industry, you've been able to see, a lot of new technologies and things be able to come in the industry. What do you think has had the biggest impact on the way that we drill today?
I think better data. I mean, honestly, you've talked about it a lot, but we're getting a lot better data. And let's say drilling, for instance, we're getting information closer to the bit. So you just have better control and you can make decisions based on better data, really, than say the old days.
So how have you implemented the better data?
Well, some of the clients I'm working for right now aren't using rotary steerable, but we do have, near bit. I don't know if it's implied or whatever, but you're seeing near bit surveys and azimuth. They're not official, but we use those to kind of see where we're going. So we can keep the bit on bottom and try to go as fast as we can without sliding. Sliding is a bad word for me. So
why is sliding a bad word for you?
Just slows everything down. I don't like macromanaging the geology, and sliding is one of my pet peeves. You macromanage the directional drilling, and takes you longer.
So which service company that's out there on the rig site do you think has the biggest impact on the overall performance of the well?
Well, if I was going to throw out a name, I guess Schlumberger was one of they had really good success with their rotary steerable, but haven't used them in a few years. But
so the directional crew would be, at least as far as the overall performance of the rig. I mean, it doesn't have to
oh,
be
you mean not a brand? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah,
no, that's all right.
Well, your DDs, not to say that the MWD is not important, but the DDs kind of make it happen. They're the leads on the location, and they can tell me, hey, we need to slide, and I can say yeah or not. So they have to interpret and project ahead. So if you got a really good DD that's kind of knows tendencies, left or right, up or down, they can really save you bacon if they're good.
If they're good,
yeah.
Okay.
I've had a few that went 180, like 2 wells where we were going the wrong way for a little while.
Ooh.
For some reason, we got synced in wrong and had to turn around, go the other way. So,
how does that transpire in the office when something like that happens? Is that like
you get all the blame comes to the drilling guys, of course. The drilling engineer or whoever's managing it. even though it's out of their control, so to speak, it's
Yeah.
something that happens in the field.
So like we're talking about, as far as the drilling engineers having a big impact, how do you as the operator ensure that you are getting the good talent out there on the rig site?
Well, you have to network, I suppose, and talk to people in the area or people that you've known, or try and figure out who's doing a good job in a specific basin, for example. Somewhere in South Texas, and haven't worked West Texas, but I'm sure they're not necessarily the same. You got guys that know West Texas, guys that know South Texas, Eagle Ford, for example, and you find out who's good, and your reputation kind of precedes you sometimes. Gives you help on who to pick.
So what would your take be on a lot of directional drilling is now moving towards, like remote office, people are steering or controlling,
Yes.
I guess, or recommending, this is the way we're going to steer, but, it's maybe just the driller from, HP Patterson, the drilling contractors actually kind of controlling stuff.
Right.
What's your thought on that, where they're taking the directional drillers out of the field?
I think it's good and bad. Since I haven't experienced it, I don't really know how to rate it, I suppose. But I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think you still need at least a couple of guys on location to make sure kind of quality control everything and make sure tools and everything are functioning. But they're looking at the same data in the office that you got in the trailer house for the directional driller, so, and on the rig, so everything's getting better, I think, in my opinion.
What are some other things that you think could help to change and be able to take drilling to the next level?
Well, I go back to sometimes I think they oversteer. Maybe that's a better, instead of micromanaging, oversteering. Just if you know the dip is 92 degrees and you've got 3D seismic, you don't need to porpoise up and down. Just kind of stay around 92 degrees and let the data kind of tell you where you're going. Not make subtle changes all the time. Stay on the. When I get to the end, it's probably going to be 92 degrees. So why don't we just drill somewhere near 92? You're going to get to the end and still be in the target or within, margin that's still good for production. I rarely see people just kind of staying with what they know. They tend to want to change things as you're drilling.
So do you think it's like the geosteering of them getting in there and saying, oh, hey, we need to go up a tenth of a degree, or we need to go down a little bit, or
too much control from the geosteering side. Instead of letting the rig and the guys, directional drillers, kind of make it happen, because they can make it happen if you let them.
Do you think it would be better if like the geosteers were then out on location or in the same room with the directional drillers to be able to converse about that?
Same room would be nice. I mean, if you could make that happen, because there's always a lag from a text or people don't like to use the phone as much as they used to. They want to text or email, and then
God forbid we get on a phone call.
It'd be a lot quicker if we just talked about it, but
yeah,
that doesn't seem to be the way things are now much.
What changes have you seen in the industry then that you wish didn't take place?
Wow. I think we've been going there a lot here on this last line of questioning, but probably I would say, let the engineer and the geologist, the ones that are responsible for it, have more control, I suppose. Instead of management kind of continuously getting in their business and just let your employees do their job more than where I've been. We seem to be micromanaged to some degree.
So as being a drilling manager, what are some of your key things that you're looking to be able to achieve with your group?
I would say there's always a learning curve. Let's say you're in a new area or something, you got to drill a few wells to get your learning curve down. And I know we've talked about it before, but a drilling program never gets slower. If it does, then you've certainly got a problem, unless there's some geologic fault or other problem that you can't control. Just let the guys learn as they go, and let them do some things that might even be not necessarily what you agree with, but let them try some things. And I wouldn't say fail, catch them before they fall, but let them do some things and learn instead of constantly force feeding them what to do, which I've been guilty of doing myself. Should have let the engineer do more of the control than me, just pushing it down his throat all the time.
So
that's
when
more ownership, I suppose, for the engineer.
Yeah. So just giving them a little bit of, give them enough rope to either climb the mountain or hang themselves, right? When you're bringing in like an engineer onto your team, what are you looking for in that drilling engineer?
Well, to be honest with you, I never hired an engineer. It was always hired for me.
Oh.
Everywhere I've been. They come in and give me a guy, and that's who I have to train.
Okay.
So, but if I was looking for a guy.
Yeah. So we're starting a new company. What you're going to go out there, either somebody from industry or from school or something. What are the things that you're looking for that make a good drilling engineer?
Well, I would say dedication and being able to answer your phone calls would be good when you try to get a little. But no, I think if you had some experience in the area, this is good. Always in that basin. Rarely did I get anybody that had a lot of years. So that's usually it's a younger guy with less experience that you got to train up a little bit. So it'd be nice to just kind of slot somebody in that maybe had worked for another operator in the area, had some precise experience in the area. But a lot of times that doesn't happen either. People are coming in from, other spots, or for whatever reason, that's the way the hiring process works.
Mm. So what really separates, drilling engineers from one another as far as being successful and being able to, put together a successful program, or to be able to successfully manage a drilling program?
Well, I would say you can't be afraid of the process. Sometimes they're hesitant to try things. You just have to get in there. Like my father said, just get in there with both feet. Just get up in there and go. So sometimes you have some, maybe, I don't know if it's timid, but they're just inexperienced, so they're not confident in what they're trying to do. So they just have to be brave and be able to interact and work with geologists, and then you've always got the accounting folks that you have to answer to. So maybe have some thick skin would be good, so that somebody tells you, you're spending too much money, say that's what we got to do. Spend money to make money. So my take on it.
So you mentioned your father there, and before the show you had said that he was a driller as well, correct?
Yes.
Tell me, what was it like growing up, with the dad as somebody who's already in the industry?
Well, I always had a summer job. Didn't have to worry about it. A roughneck on, even probably before I was old enough to do so. But my dad bought a rig in 1961, so I was 1 year old at the time. So I don't know when I went to the rig, but I assume it was probably got carried out there, and they didn't have a little plastic carrier then. But I'm sure I was there as a very young. But when I was growing up, we'd always go to the rig and, you know, riding a pickup with no seatbelt. And here we go, going out to the rig. My mom didn't know when we were going to come back, so I guess I got acclimated early on the drilling rig.
So where was this at? Well, like
Southern Oklahoma. Yeah, it was in Oklahoma. Yeah, drilling shallow oil wells in Southern Oklahoma. So
is that what got you? I mean, obviously, I'm guessing that's what got you interested in being able to get into petroleum engineering.
yes, I figured out I wanted to be the company man though early on. So in order to do that, you know, at least I thought I needed the engineering degree. So not that I wanted to be the company man, but I was motivated. I think he made me. When I say made me, I mean not like he forced me, but I worked on the rig. That motivated me to go to college because it's hard labor. I mean, I think that was in my dad's mind. I'm gonna make him work hard and work 7 days a week during the summer, and he'll go to college and get a degree. So it worked out. His plan worked.
So what was it like those? I mean, I guess, you know, teenage or childhood years or, you know, college years of working out on the rig.
Well, luckily I liked it, and I had some good people I worked with. Of course, a lot of them had worked for, you know, decades for my dad. So I guess I had some, you know, I wouldn't say they treated me differently, but might have treated me worse. But anyway, they would put me at mixing mud and getting stuff all over me, getting dirty. That's the jobs they gave me, you know, as the worm.
Yeah.
So
How much did that early experience affect your career going forward?
well, I wanted to be a petroleum engineer, so I wanted to work in the oil and gas industry. I mean, from an early age, and my grandfather was a gauger, so we kind of multiple generations of oil and gas people. So that's what we liked. And my brother's a geologist, so I mean, we all stayed in our lane except for my sister. She did something else.
And so now your daughter's watching. Is she getting into the business as well?
No, I have two daughters. Neither one are in oil and gas. So I didn't.
So either you did something right or wrong. I don't know which way to be able to go with it. Probably more so to did something right.
Yeah.
Let them branch
I
out.
let them choose their own. I didn't encourage them or discourage them. So they actually had internships at the operator I worked for. So I guess they did see a little bit of it.
Oh, okay.
In their early college years. So
they got a little bit of a professional introduction, not just a family introduction to it.
Yeah.
So what was your first job out after graduating?
None. I didn't have a job for about 3 months, but I started working as the engineer for a company in Oklahoma City. So $22,000 was my salary in 1983.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that was a good amount of money. Evidently, it wasn't as much as some other folks, but so just, you know, they knew that I had a little bit of drilling experiences as far as drilling working, so they just sent me down the road in an old 2-door pickup to sit on rigs and do completions and what have you too. But so it was good. It was right. It's what I wanted to be doing, so it was great. I was glad to have a job.
I mean, I think there's a lot of people at that age that are probably like, yeah, you know, just to have the job is, you know, especially if they're unemployed for 3 months. So, do you think it's important that, you know, people that are coming up in the industry to have that field experience before getting into the office?
Yeah, I think everybody needs some field experience, even if it's just rotating, maybe not staying out there, because we just kind of lived out there more or less for a while sometimes. But you need the practical, you need to interact with the, you know, labor and service guys on location to kind of understand how this whole thing works. It's sometimes, I think, too easy to sit in the office and control everything when you don't really understand maybe how the process works. So,
have you seen different levels of success for people that have had that experience versus not?
yeah, I've seen some of the younger guys that I've been involved with, mentoring that after they spend some time in the field, I think they appreciated things, how, vendors, for example, you need to appreciate the service side, not just dictate everything to, be able to work, compromise sometimes with the service side. So I think they learned a lot. They had a better attitude, and then they obviously had more knowledge.
So you're saying something along the same lines that when Ryan Brogley was here, he was saying that, operators shouldn't be too arrogant towards the service company side and be understanding of those. Is that something that
Empathy is what you need, a little empathy. My daughter who's listening, she's a big empathy person. Have a little empathy and work with people, understand just a person, is good. So
you're not going to be the one that's beating up the service companies all the time?
Yeah. I mean, I've been guilty of running on people, and that's not proud of it, but as I get older, I think I appreciate it more, and getting back in the field more lately. You got to get back to understanding on a different kind of level, I guess, of what they do on the rig and what service side provides you. So everybody's working hard, and you got to kind of, let them do their job sometimes instead of constantly maybe badgering them.
So what is it like now, getting more involved with, or, getting back to that field level and getting involved as opposed to what you were doing, kind of in your previous position?
I enjoy it. I mean, maybe not after 3 weeks out there. I'm not enjoying as much as the first day, but sometimes it's time to go home or be off the job for a little bit. But I appreciate it. There's a lot of people working hard out there, and there's a lot of younger guys. I'm seeing more younger guys, which is good to see. Maybe than in the 20 years ago. There's young guys still coming out working on a rig or getting trained on wireline or that kind of thing. I think it's good. And they get ribbed, of course, just like the worm gets a lot of the brunt of the jokes and has to get oil base mud all over them, etc. That's just part of the process.
So, you say that you're semi-retired. What keeps drawing you back in and keeping you in the industry versus just, saying?
I enjoy doing what I do. I mean, I've done it my whole life, so I enjoy successfully drilling the well and beating the one before that, like get it done faster and cheaper, or let's say we're fracking and successfully pulling off 37 stages of fracks without screening out, etc. It's kind of the feeling of success, I guess.
Describe that feeling to me. Like after you hit you get another record well done, or you drilled it, 2 or 3 days faster than the previous one. Describe that feeling?
Well, I'm not an overly excitable guy, but I guess personal gratitude, you're happy when it's done, and you just call into your client and say it's over, it's good, everything's went well. It's always a good phone call rather than, hey, we're stuck and now we got to call the fishing guy. So it's a good feeling.
Yeah, I've never had to make that phone call before, so I can imagine how bad that one is. And if that's the opposite, I guess it's probably a pretty good feeling. We had a couple of comments in here. Brian says, how many days different or how many days difference MWD steerable versus straight motor RSS in which basins?
It was Eagle Ford, South Texas. Probably back then it was 5,000 or 6,000 foot laterals. We cut 3 days off the well because we'd done a whole series of maybe 20 wells the old way, and then we implemented rotary steerable, drilled up probably 10 wells or so that year with multiple well pads. So it worked really well.
All right, then Eric says hello from sunny south of France, and then Ryan Brogley says Steve Carter. I know that guy.
Yeah,
So
we worked together. He consulted for me
oh yeah,
at one operator, for a while, and I think we taught him a thing or two about drilling.
oh,
You
really?
know, I mean, he knew about it, but we taught him a few things.
So
Drilling.
so what's it like having Brogley work for you?
He was
Or
good.
work with
He
you?
was good.
Yeah.
I mean, at that time he was part owner, so he was enjoying, his firm working for me, and as part of the firm, so it was good. He went on to bigger and better things after that. So
yeah, now he's got MB Resources. So, well, thanks for tuning in, Ryan. I do appreciate that. Yeah, so I want to be able to ask you a little bit more about, where do you see the next evolution of the industry in drilling? What big advancements do you think? I know we talked about data and stuff, but what big advancements do you think are still left out there for us to continue shaving days and increase drilling efficiency?
Well, some of it I'm only hearing or reading about, but more automation on the rigs where you're eliminating some of the personnel and some of the human error, like handling pipe, and more automation on the rig. So if the process comes together, I think it'll just be better. It'll increase, feet per day drilled, and hopefully reduce, accidents on the rig, that kind of thing. And you're the big data hound, but more data properly interpreted is good, and I think that'll happen also.
So you mentioned safety there. How much has safety changed from when you first started to where we're at now?
Well, we can't get on the forklift and just use it as a man lift like we used to. Everybody has a man lift now, for example. We used to just put and I'll deny it, but we used to put a wooden pallet on the forklift, and that was your man lift. Get on there and get up there and work on the BOP or whatever. So now it's, everybody's tied off and working with a man lift and proper safety methods. We didn't do it all the time, but on occasion, if you're in a hurry, we did things that might not have been the safest thing to do. Luckily, nobody got hurt, but so good. Safety is paramount now. I mean, we have a lot of, JSAs and safety meetings, and I think it's good, to be safe, take care of me.
What are some of the other things that you've seen change in your career? I know I've kind of asked this before. I mean, just because you've had such a long career going from, family-owned drilling rig to being able to, having a multiple drilling rig program here in South Texas. What are some of the other big changes that you've seen in the industry that really stick out to you?
Well, for me, I think, having a top drive, which is a big, nice thing. Everybody kind of assumes and goes with the top drive, but you used to have to have the rotary and Kelly bushing, and it wasn't it was not primitive, but a lot less technology. So top drive is awesome. More automation, like the rig controls, having a joystick. A lot of younger guys don't know about the old brake handle and having to engage the clutch and pick up, go down, all that good stuff was a lot less automation. So
what was it like, working in the industry as the top drives were kind of being rolled out? What were some of the conversations internally there about it? Because,
I thought it was great. I never had a problem with changing to the higher end technology. But there were some older guys, that might have had some doubts early on, and they like the feel of the brake handle. So they're more than they could feel, like slacking off instead of being automatically weight on bit. They did it by hand, or put a weight on there and the weight until they got the weight just right, so the brake drum was, slacking it off. So that's old style. But.
So what could, like, from your experience, what could we do better about being able to get the industry to adopt new technologies?
Education, probably. It's I think. I don't want to characterize everybody, but a lot of folks don't go out and seek, I guess, some of these conferences, etc., where you're presenting new technology and new ideas. I don't think they're out there searching for papers and, actively seeking new technology that's there. So I think they're just not educated on it. Maybe they don't have knowledge of it. So might come back to the service side again. You just got to keep pushing your ideas and new technology, even to the point of being annoying. Just be annoying, as far as I'm concerned.
So it's in that regard, like, do you think it's more on the service company then side to be able to continue trying to educate the operators of what's going on, or should the operators take the lead in telling their drilling engineers, hey, I want you to go out there, I want you to go look for papers, I want you to
Well, I haven't really
LinkedIn and look for new stuff that's happening.
I haven't worked for major operators, so I don't really know about the internal. I'm sure they may have more tendency to look for new technology, but little guys that are trying to survive and drill a few wells a year, they're probably not going to be trying to stay on the cutting edge. But they've had processes that they know and they like, and they're comfortable with that, so they may not be. So I think it's the responsibility of the operator and the service side, but probably still think the service side is going to have to keep pushing, trying new ways to do that.
In the ways that we're getting papers out there now, do you think that is a conducive method for being able to get that education out there, or should we change that up some?
No, I think so. I think it's good to, even if you don't go to the conference somehow later or after the conference, put it out there so people can go look at it and search for the ideas. I know you try to push, folks to come to the conference and interact, but if you're working or busy for whatever reason, I think still need access to those articles or papers. Be nice. I don't know if it's always like that. If they're always making it, public domain, so people can just go search and get, look it up.
What do you think the conferences could do to be able to get more operator attendance? Because, I've been to SBE conferences, IADD. We were recently both at the AADE conference in Midland, which I saw maybe a handful of operators, but not. The vast majority of people there were service company individuals.
Right.
What could the industry and or these conferences, maybe even the service companies, do to be able to get more operators out of their office to be able to come attend these events where people are essentially putting on papers that are supposedly pushing the envelope with new technology and new processes?
Yeah. Well, that's a tough thing to do right there, but I think there's probably less staff, so I think it's hard for people to sometimes get off or take time to go to conferences, or maybe the company culture is not geared that way to, hey, we don't need to go to conferences or spend our time doing that when taken away from the office. But it's really a tough thing to sell. Probably going to have to gimmick some stuff up to try and, I don't know how exactly, but maybe combine golf. I mean, I do a lot of times, or some other event that kind of dovetails in with the conference to kind of draw them in. And I know everybody that goes to a conference likes it once they go, but it's sometimes hard to get them there. It's
somebody presenting a paper as you're walking between the tee and the green or something like that, and just
maybe could have big screens, but with your technology going on,
put some
on all par 3 tee boxes where you got to wait, just put a screen up and try to force them to watch your video.
Just a little screen on the back of the golf cart, and just
right by the tee box,
just hey,
projector, and
and
beer, of course. You gotta have beer, but or some other kind of drink.
Like, hey, before you guys tee off, give me like 1 minute of your time to pitch you on what we've got going here.
I'm probably gonna have to have a bouncer there to make them do that too. Like a big guy that's talking to them about, we'd like you to watch the video. It's gonna have to be somebody physically demanding.
just somebody stands in the way of you being able to swing and say, you must listen to this, and then afterwards, then you can go on playing your game of golf.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Well, I mean, like you said, he's got to gimmick something. I mean, we got to be able to put something together to where, get the operators out of the office to where they're enjoying it, and then also being able to learn and take something from it. Because I mean, if anything, I'm learning from your conversation, we got to be persistent, and it's on the service companies to be able to do it, and it's not just
well, I hate that it's on the service company, but I think they have to keep on pushing. You know what I mean?
Why do you hate that it's on the service company?
Well, it would be good if operators would. It's just the culture thing, I think. And I'm only in a small circle, but it's. I don't think that they're probably not going to call Summer J, for example, and ask them what's the latest in your rotary steerable lineup. They're just going to keep using the directional company they got now. They're happy with, and everything's good. They may not reach out and try something else. And it's hard to do. I mean, if your drilling program is going good and you're happy with the days to TD, sometimes you don't want to mess up the system or the process.
So just the risk aversion culture within the organizations is what's keeping us from progressing even more.
That's my opinion.
So
you get comfortable with what you're doing, and sometimes you don't step out and try.
So I know there's some operators that say that, I shouldn't say that this is what they said, but essentially is what it comes down to is that they're happy to be second place, or they're in a hurry to be second place. It's like they don't want to be the first guy to test it out.
That's true.
But we'll be happy to be the next guy when it's working. We'll pick it up.
That's another, to be the first guys to use something is, sometimes hard to sell. They always want some track record or show me some stuff. And if you don't have anything to show, it's pretty tough.
Are there any technologies that you could think of that you were one of the first to try out, or you were one of the early stage guinea pigs on?
We had some bits from a kind of a new bit company in South Texas that it's kind of a new PDC design, and it looked like you could just break all the blades off right when you put it in the hole. And we said, man, let's just try it. And we ended up, it was the best thing we ever did, honestly.
Really?
And we thought, well, we'll use it on, our easier stuff, sands and what have you. And then we tried limestone. It worked in limestone. We had the hardest thing we could drill, which at that time was the Pearsall formation down in South Texas. It worked in everything we tried. I mean, it advanced a lot after that. Everybody kind of had more of that design, but it really was kind of a life-changing thing. I tried for them to make a 3-blade PDC, but they wouldn't do it. But we went from 6 to 5 to just kept saying we can do it with less blades. But
So what does that change when you guys were going down to less blades?
faster ROP was all that was about. As long as we could control it, directionally. But it was just faster, without a doubt, than anything we had prior to that.
What kind of improvements were you guys seeing?
Oh gosh, I don't know percentage wise, but at least 15 or 20% ROP easy.
Wow,
It was good.
this is the good days, I'm guessing. Then it's like, yeah. So how far did you get them down to? Down to a 4-blade?
No,
saying-
we never. I don't think we ran a 4-blade 5, but we kept putting bigger cutter and just trying more aggressive things without DBR and the whole thing. And we did DBR a few, but not because of the design. It was more of a formation thing. When I get into semi-hydrites or something like that, where we were going through thin layered stuff that to the bit appeared to be hard, but it was just the impact. We hit it too hard with the cutter and broke it. So.
And that's where your local experience comes in. That
Right.
you're talking about with the direction drills, is knowing that these things happen.
Right.
And then tweaking the drilling program just a little bit. Wow,
Yeah.
It's really
So-
interesting to be able to hear.
Yeah.
Let's see. What did Darryl say? Steve Carter, one of the first engineers to run the Ander gauge agitator in South Texas, always placed it right above the MWD. Tell me a little bit about this.
Wish I could remember it, but it's been a while. But
Wow, first one to run one of the agitators. Oh, well, there you go. You placed it right above the MWD. That's something. Doesn't some of those old style methods bear the core of what automation could be applied to? Having a feel of the operation was always a good thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
old school's good. Sometimes, it's not always. If you're falling behind old school, that's not good. But if you're succeeding with old school, that's always good.
There you go. So what was that like, other than, because I know you answered this before, other than, looking at the dollars, what was your tendency there on being able to try out that, like what kind of tipped the scales on trying out something new, like the new bit or whatnot?
Well, a lot of times you had to sell your boss. That was a big thing. If you could sell your boss to try it, then and get him on board, so to speak, to try it. If you didn't want to, make yourself look bad either. So it's kind of a delicate balance there.
See, this is why I would never make it as a drilling engineer, because I'd just be trying everything. Somebody walks in and says, "Hey,
Well,
we got this thing." I was like, "Oh, let's go try it." Oh, we got this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go try it. I'd
Yeah.
want to try everything.
Yeah. Well, that might not be bad. You see how many
It
train.
sounds like it'd be
If you didn't have a train wreck, you'd be okay.
Well, that's probably more my luck. It'd be a lot of catastrophes, but we might hit a grand slam every once in a while, and then, hopefully make up for it. But
Probably depends on how much risk averse your employer is too. If you're drilling 5 wells a year or you're drilling 105, you can take on different.
so that's why I love the
Okay.
industry I'm in now. Is I can just keep taking risk over and over and over again. I was like, okay, that didn't work. On to the next one. Oh, that didn't work. On to the next one. That's fun part, at least for me.
I think that's good. You're influencing people to try things. That's my opinion. Good.
I think that it's a part of our industry that definitely needs to be broached, is being able to set up a pathway of new technologies to be able to come in and have better understanding of that. And if you know of companies that say yes, like I was saying, there's those companies that say, hey, we're ready to be second place. I think that's the best thing they can do, is just say, this is where we're at on it, so don't call us, and then so you're not wasting the time there. And you find the other companies that are like, yeah, we're more open to new digital solutions, or we're more open to new bit designs. Those kinds of things make it easier for the small startups to be able to say, okay, hey, here are the people to be able to go pitch this with, as opposed to somebody who's gonna be like, just slam the door in their face and say it's not going to work.
But I do think the fact that we got more data, good data now, it's if you have, I'm going to keep going back to rotary steerable just as a fallback, but
if you have rotary steerable people that are loving this episode,
if you have a lot of data that shows, we are kicking everybody's butt from the past, you can show that now. You have a better data set. You can go in there and sell it to the operator, for example. And if they don't take it up, then they're, that's their own fault. If they don't want to try something to improve and you're showing it to them, that's all you can do. Can't do anything. If they still don't want to try it, then that's the way it is. Sometimes you
lead the horse to water or something like that. Yeah.
I'm not giving service people advice, but sometimes you got to offer them something. Like a low price coming in, and then if it works, put some kind of parameters and benchmarks, and then once you got them, and then you got them using it, so it might just fall right in there. Keep going.
There's nothing wrong with giving service companies advice. I mean, I would say, I know I fall into that domain. I don't know if maybe you would say that you're in that domain now.
Oh yeah, I've made deals, so to speak. We'll try it, but it's the but part. You gotta give me something to.
Yeah, no loss in haul.
No DVR, for example. I'm gonna try you a new bit, but if it DVRs, it's zero. Yeah. We'll move on to the next one. Something like that.
So, what question am I not asking you? What should I be asking you?
Wow. Well, we're all drilling today, right? We're talking all drilling. So, I would say in the old days, I was always a price conscious guy. I would bid the cheapest rig I could find. I'd bid 10 of them. And if it was decent, I mean, if I knew the contractor, I'd use the cheapest one. That was probably a fatal error, because you need a good rig. Sometimes you got to pay for what you get. So somebody that their top drive works, their pumps stay running, etc. For me, those are the two big items on the rig: top drive and the pumps. And hands are, it's good to have good hands, but you can still make things work even with maybe not all your hands are A grade, but you have a pusher or someone that's mentoring them that helps them get it done. So I think that's probably just, you got to have a good rig to start with, or you've already handicapped yourself coming out of the gate. And then downtime is less NPT and more on bottom time. It's kind of an easy equation. Stay on bottom, you're doing something. If you're off bottom time is my big deal.
Yeah.
I don't care about NPT. I care about the OBT, off bottom time. Minimize OBT. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess it's the same thing, but
do you think more companies should focus in on that, of just staying on bottom?
Yes. Going back to the geo steering, every time we pick up and slide, we're off bottom again. We could have stayed, drill another 90 feet, check it out. Don't need to slide yet. But anyway, directional driller's got to be on board with you too. Not only the geo steer. Directional driller's got to be there for his projected, path that he's going to be on for the next stand. So kind of get to sell everybody. So
All right. LinkedIn user, the famous LinkedIn user says, Steve, you mentioned using larger cutters. Ever run the King cutters from the Christiansons in 1980s?
no, I didn't. That wasn't the bit bender I was using. So.
Oh. And then Andrew says, good mud logging data can provide both drilling and geological data at a reasonable cost.
That's true. I mean, same thing. You can have good mud loggers and some that aren't as good.
So you mentioned it earlier about, drilling engineers having to deal with accounting. So if they are telling you you're spending too much, how do you make that evaluation on trying to figure out what to cut back on?
Wow. Now you can, of course, get your Excel spreadsheet and break it all down and analyze it. But you have to have a boss that's with you too, to kind of back you up. Even if accounting is saying you're spending too much, but if management and your boss says it's going to be okay, just hang in there and let us do this. But to a point, I mean, if you're, blowing a lot of money, you can't keep doing that. But
Is most of the time, is it just coming down as far as like mistakes in the drilling program, like getting stuck or yard costs or something like that, as opposed to just like, drilling program's running, everything's going well, and you're hitting consistent costs?
Well, if you're inefficient, that's compared to what you could be doing, that's not good. But if you're staying out of trouble, that's always good. I mean, not getting stuck or not having hole problems, that'll go a long way too. I mean, if you're drilling so fast, but your hole is caving in on you or being, unstable, then that's not good. So you might have to slow down a little bit.
All right. Russell Rankin says, good commentary, Steve. Boomer.
He's my OU buddy.
Oh, yeah?
We're OU alumni. So Rankin.
Yeah. Can you tell us anything about him?
He likes South Dakota or North Dakota, whichever one it is. Is it South Dakota? Which one is where everybody drills?
Oh, the Bakken?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's North Dakota.
Okay.
Yeah.
He likes North Dakota. He'd go back there today if he could find something really good and paid a lot. He'd be gone to North Dakota.
I think any of us would go somewhere if it paid a lot.
No, it's too cold. Number one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be good in the summer. But he loves
Alaska's
it.
pretty cold in the winter too. Yeah, but it pays pretty good, so I don't mind going up there. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and give away the drill bit. And for anybody that hasn't had the chance, hashtag PTEN is the thing to be able to put in there, and you win yourself a drill bit, just like so. Oh, we've had 22 put it in. All right. So, did you put it up on the screen?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, gotta wait till it comes back down there. Yeah, so just throw that one up on there, and then we'll hit the drawing here. Oh, see, yeah, that's all right.
Sorry.
The new mouse system, it doesn't respond as quick as you would want it to, but yeah, we'll go ahead and hit that.
Wow.
We'll see who today's lucky winner is. If it's Brogley, I'm gonna laugh. Oh! All right. Well, Brogley was one of the very first people I ever gave one of these drill bits to, but
good for him.
He probably doesn't have one of the new ones, so he's the winner for today. So he's probably going to text me here in a minute and say, "Hey, just give it to somebody else." But Brogley, thanks for watching the show. I do appreciate it, sir. And I will get you that drill bit. I'm not going to ship it to you. You just have to come by here to the office. I invited him to come out here and hang out with us today, but he didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't.
Could have had a panel.
I mean, The Central Texas AADE operator panel right here. There we go. Well, Steve, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I
Thank
really
you,
do appreciate
David,
it.
really.
Anything else you'd like
I
to
enjoy
do?
your podcast, and you helped me through COVID, honestly. That's when I started watching you, it was during COVID. I had a lot of spare time. I could watch podcasts and stuff anytime.
Well, thank you. I really
So that's how I
appreciate it.
discovered you, and then obviously we've met and talked here recently in a couple of places.
Yeah. Well, I'm continuing
Wish you the
on
best.
with it. I'm continuing on with that presentation. We're starting to build out some more to it. Don't want to say too much. Some people have seen it, but
I might even have some data for you to analyze someday.
oh,
You know,
hey, I am always more than happy to be able to analyze and visualize data. I don't know. I get myself involved in other stuff, and then I keep always gravitating back that direction. I'm like, I don't know, this is kind of what I like doing more.
Yeah.
You know, just put in my headphones and play in Excel sheets or Tableau, whatever it is. So thanks everybody for watching. Next week, we've got another live show coming up. Haven't fully confirmed the guest yet, so I'm not going to say anything just yet. Then we've got, I think, 3 shows back to back after that that are already signed up, ready to be able to go. Like I said, next weekend is the Permian Basin burnout. Great event to be able to attend. OTC's coming up. That's about it for now. Hope everybody has an absolutely wonderful weekend. We got softball games tonight, baseball games tomorrow. So everybody have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And as always, know your industry.